So welcome to ARAP-124. Basically in this course, let me pin myself and then just go through a few things. And then we'll start the overall course. So essentially what we're going to be studying in this course is it's basically how forces and we're going to be using mechanics, physics, study how forces and how they impact structures. Now, for those of you who are in section 701, you will be also meeting me in person. And so your classes are synchronous. You'll be meeting me in person. Whereas those of you who are watching this or attending this from 402 or 401, so you guys will also be attending this class. You can watch the recording, or you can attend this class live when I'm recording, okay? So just keep that in mind. So just go over meeting times. So for those of you who are in 701, so for 701, section 701, we will meet synchronously. So at this time, 9:30 a.m. Thursdays online. Okay, 9:30. So you're supposed to be attending like it's a live class. It's 9:30 a.m. every Thursday, and it ends at 10:20 a.m. Okay, and then for 701, we meet 10:30 a.m. to 12:20 p.m. and that is Fridays on campus, live, in person, and I believe it's room 412. Check your schedules. Okay. All right. So that's for you guys who are in section for 701. For sections 401 and 402, you can attend this class. So 9:30 a.m. to 10:20 a.m. Thursdays, you can attend. You can attend this class, and then I'll be recording. So this is when I'm recording your class, and you can attend the recording on Mondays, 8:30 a.m. to, again, 10:20 a.m. If you don't attend, the recording will be available for you at a later time. Okay. All right. So this is basically the setup. So for 701, you have to be present, whether it's online or in person. Why? Because it is what is known as synchronous or in person. Unless I say to you, I'm not going to be attending, and you guys can access the recording, right? So you do have to attend live. Those of you who are in these sections, you can attend live, or you can attend the class in by watching the recording, and then you'll have to, the only thing is then you'll have to figure out a way to talk to me if you need any help. Okay. Now, for people present, any questions about this? It looks like we've got a few people here. Good. Good for you guys. Any questions thus far? No questions? What do you mean recap? Which part of it did you not understand? Do you want me to repeat that entire everything? Because you're late? So you need to come on time, right? So please try to be responsible and be here on time. So I'm just going to repeat the part for 701. Those of you who are in section 701, Those of you who are in section 701, Thursdays, we meet online and it's synchronous. Okay? And it is from 9:30 a.m. to 10:20 a.m. And then Fridays, we meet in person. And it is from 10:30 a.m. to 12:20 p.m. If you don't attend these classes, you miss the class, you miss the class. And your grade will likely suffer. The worst thing you can do for yourself in these type of courses, the worst thing you can do is skip class. If you want to skip class, you will probably be on the path to struggling and probably not passing this course or getting a lower grade. However, if you attend class, you're, especially in the first part, you'll be in a lot better position to score a decent score. That's just based on my experience teaching this class. Okay, so what I highly recommend is attend class. I highly recommend. I can just give you my own personal experience. When I used to skip classes for various reasons, usually because I was involved in sports and other activities on campus, I was barely getting B's, barely. But once I started to attend class regularly, A to A plus was a normal for me. Okay, so I I can tell you from personal experience, it makes a huge difference. Another thing is try to be on time. Let's say tomorrow you get a job offer or an interview, and your professors are going to be your reference. One of the things they ask you about is punctuality. Because if you can't show up or if you can't show up on time, companies tend to not want to hire people, even though maybe it's not the most important thing. But when you start off in your career trying to get a job, you probably want to be punctual. You want to attend regularly and attend on time. If you are on time, that's a really good sign. Now, let's say you're a few minutes late in the in-person class, it's understandable. But when you're late for a Zoom class, I start to wonder, you know, what traffic did you hit on the way to the bathroom or to the kitchen and getting down for class, right? So then I start to wonder what is going on. And usually the answer is you need to be better organized. So this is why they ask about punctuality, right? If you're not on time and you don't attend, employers tend to wonder if you're an organized person. Now, maybe you don't really need me as a reference, but you might need somebody else. So try to practice good habits. Okay, these are a few things that I recommend. Okay, so the name of the course is ARP. Let's go ahead and share the screen, talk a little bit about it. So you are taking this course to understand how statics work. What are statics? So if you look at the course description, statics, it's basically you're going to start to understand how forces act on an object or a structure in what we would call relative um, rest in a system, as opposed to dynamics, where you're studying uh, the uh, uh, the physics of motion. We're in the basics early part. We're going to look at both the physics or the mechanics of statics or objects at rest with no uniform or motion and no resultant force. But we are also then going to talk a little bit about dynamics, but not very much, just a little bit, just to give you a flavor of it, because it's important. It's hard to study only mechanics only when you're referring to statics. You want to study mechanics having a basic idea of it all around. Later on, you're going to focus on geometric properties and how it pertains to complex structures and buildings. So now we should also start off with a acknowledgement of the traditional land. Centennial is proud to be a part of a rich history of education in this province and in the city. We acknowledge that we are on the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and pay tribute to their legacy and the legacy of all First Peoples of Canada as we strengthen ties with the communities we serve and build the future through learning and through our graduates. Today, the traditional meeting place of Toronto is still home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work in the communities that have grown in the treaty lands of the Mississaugas. We acknowledge that we are all treaty people and accept our responsibility to honor our relations. So what are you learning here, or what are the course learning outcomes? You're going to be able to identify the units, both empirical and metric, and that's pretty much where we start off the course. Then you're going to be able to solve problems using vectors and moments, Newton's laws, and how to add and subtract vectors. We hopefully, in the first part, we will try to get to free body diagrams and equilibrium. Although at that stage, we'll be getting close to the middle of the semester. Why do I bring that up? Because I'm only your professor till the end of June or the middle of June. Professor Mansour will take over afterwards. Do not be concerned. You are in great hands. I only know good things about Professor Mansour. He will then carry on with the concurrent coplanar vectors and then get into cross-sectional properties of structures, center of gravity, moment of inertia, radius of gyration. These sound like complicated terms, but from what I've seen, if you are doing well in the basics, the first part of the course, you're going to do very well in the second part of the course. Okay, and then you want to calculate reactions on beams on external forces. Now, what are employability skills? How are you going to solve problems based on the information given? And also, I like to see you try to show good. Basically, you have a bunch of information. How are you going to evaluate and use that information? Okay, so that's what you're going to be needing. I do have textbooks that if anybody wants to borrow, they can, or if they want, they can use strength and materials. Now I am in class for 701 tomorrow, so if anybody wants to take a look at the textbooks or borrow them, you can let me know. So here are the evaluations, and I'm going to talk about that a little more, so I'm going to skip over that for now. Now, if you do have an accommodation, let me know, and I will definitely honor your accommodation, but you do have to give me a heads up. Okay. The rest of it is mostly typical college policies. Okay, so here are the topics. Let's see if I can rotate. No, it looks like I can't. Okay, so the first few weeks, we're going to be working with measurements, units, conversions, trigonometry, vectors, and then we have our first test, and then we get into forces, Newton's laws of vectors, and we get into free body diagrams. At that point, you will be at the end of the first half of the semester, and then the other professor will take over and get into moment of force. Although I do recall that we touch on it by the end of week 7. I'm not sure if we'll be able to do that this time. And then you have your second test. You've got centroids, moment of inertia, gyration, and then you finish off with test number 3. Any questions about the course outline? Thank you, Samantha. Okay. Um, can I assume all of you who are in attendance are from section 701, or is there anybody here from 401, 402?
I'm from 402.
Who's that?
This is Kristen speaking.
Okay, Kristen, thank you. So when I say something is only relevant to 401, 402, make sure you make a note of that. Most of this class is this is a live class for 701, but if something is not relevant to you in 401, 402, I'll let you know. And one of those things is the Friday class is not relevant to you. That's only for 701. For you guys, 401, 402, I'll be doing a similar live recording Monday morning. If you attend, you attend. If you don't, I'll share the recording with you, okay? Does that make sense? Danielle, Kristen?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I have another question. How many people are hockey fans here? How many people are hockey fans here? Do we have a class with no hockey fans? Okay, I've got no response thus far. Okay, so we've got one go Leafs. Is that it? It is a very sad day for me to find out that I don't have hockey fans in my class. And why do I bring up hockey fans? Well, when you think about hockey and the great teams, which is the great team of the past? Does anybody want to tell me? Does anybody want to tell me which is a great team of the past?
The Montreal Canadiens.
The Montreal Canadiens. So when an assessment is highlighted in red, and as you can see, they're still a team of the past. They lost again last night. So when we are looking at an assessment, I'm going to use red to indicate that that assessment is done. It's in the past. Okay? All right. Now, what is a team of today? What is a good team of today? When you think about a good team, what do you think is a good team today that we have our hope for? Come on, guys. Which is a good team today? So if a section or an assessment is highlighted in blue, that is the assessment to focus on. Okay. Although some of you might be cricket fans, and you can say Indian cricket blue, and then but for you, I have to make the team of the past green like Pakistan because they're not very good today. Okay. So does that make sense? And so that's where I'm going to show you how we had this set up in the past. Because every week I'm going to post. So do you guys see this? So this is from last year. It's not relevant to you this year. So if you look at your updated assessment list and it says red, what does that red mean? It is?
In the past.
Exactly. It's done. All right. So you no longer should be worrying about it unless you have an accommodation or you need to work on it for some reason because you missed it for a valid reason. Okay. And what is the thing to be focused on? Look, now I am going to argue because I love all the Canada-based teams, and no, it's not because of Trump tariffs. I've been like that for 30 odd years. I do like the Winnipeg Jets as well. So For me, the blue is the Winnipeg Jets, not the Toronto Maple Leafs. And that's what you have to focus on today or tomorrow. Okay? Right. Funny story, in 2021, I had to reverse the scheme. Why? Because Montreal went to the finals and they beat Toronto on the way. So that was a lot of fun for me. So I actually made the team of today, Montreal. But that usually does not happen. So let's take a look at your current assessment. And there's a third thing that I want to focus you guys to focus on there as well, a third aspect. So can you guys all see that? You guys see the assessments?
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to see three color schemes, right? The brown, it is the Cleveland Browns. Nothing to do with me. And that is all to do with the professor in the second half of the semester. All right. So in the first half, you have 3 assignments with me, 3 assignments. Why do I say this is very, very important? Because if you are working on an assignment and you're not getting it and you need help, I'll help you. That's 15% of the overall score that I want you to get, or close to that, before you move on to the next professor. And then you have 1 test with me. And if you are doing well in the assignments, you should cream that test. You should be getting close to full marks if you're doing well in the assignments. Why? Because my assignment questions are my test questions. Okay. And what will happen is I'll hand out those assignments in the second half of class every week. So those of you who are in person, you can work on the test on Friday in person and ask me for help, or you can work with each other. In the test, you can't work with each other. The only thing is, in the test, what you need to do is you need to just have your formula sheet. And conversions. That's all you're supposed to have in the
We couldn't see the whiteboard.
Okay, good. Thank you for pointing that out. Sorry about that. Let me switch over to my other camera to make sure you can see that. Can you see that now? So you need to make sure you have your conversion sheet and formula sheet. Now, some students have asked in the past, why don't you make it for us? And I said, well, I want you to go through this stuff and create your own sheets, okay? So how do you create a sheet that's relevant? If it's relevant to the assignment questions, it's relevant to your test, okay? Any questions about the assessments?
I do have one question.
Yes, please go ahead.
For the test,
Yes.
are we doing it on our own time, or is there a specific time we need to complete it?
Right, so this is 401, 402?
Correct.
Correct, yeah. So for you guys, and I'll talk to you guys about that separately. What I do is you do it. I give a few options, but I do want to watch you writing the test. I want to see that you're doing it alone.
Okay.
And that's the only time I ask the cameras to be on. So let's say you have the test is on a Thursday, right? I'll give at least 2 or 3 time slots that you can choose one. And if none of those work, we'll figure something out. I'll even set up a different time just for you, where I set you up with the test. And so there might be variations in the test, so different versions for each, but the same question, slight variations. And what you'll do is you'll write the test, because I work from home in consulting, or I work in an office. So I'll set you up. All I need to know is that you'll be on camera. I'll be doing my own work. You can write your test. I'm quite flexible, but I do like to try to have it in the same time frame, like the same day or so. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
Thank
you pick the time out of the options, and if they don't work, we work something in. Generally, the times that I have, almost all of them are in such a way that if you're working on your own time, one of them works for you. And if none of them works, sometimes I have one or two students, I pick a third time on a different day, a day or so after. Because I don't want to leave it for too far into the future. I want to have it done, have your marks up. Okay. Now here's what I asked you guys to do. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Professor.
Okay, good, good. So, you know what my name is? Can you guys all say my name?
Yeah, we can say that, Professor. It's
Yeah.
easy.
So what does it mean? It means to worship by putting your head to the ground. But it was made famous by an incident in Karbala, Iraq. And it was because the great-great-grandson of the Prophet Muhammad was the only male who was alive after that. It was Imam Zainul Abidin. We used to call him Sajjad. So and it's actually in Urdu, that's just how it's written. It's an Arabic name. I am not Arabic. It became famous in Iraq. I'm not Iraqi. Uh, but that is sort of what my name means. What do I do? I'm actually a geophysicist. A geophysicist. That is what I am, education degree wise. Where has my practice actually been? I would consider it to be more of a geoscientist. I'm more of a geoscientist. So what does a geoscientist do? Anything related to the earth. What have I mostly focused on? It's mostly soft rock geology. So what basically does that mean? Soil and groundwater. That's my main area. Now, how have I worked in a field that's relevant to your field? So you guys are architects, you're going to be architects, technicians, technologists. So when you have a building, right, you guys are designing a structure and you guys are going to understand how the different forces are involved, correct? And based on your design, they're going to be designing foundations. But you're going to tell them how much force is being applied by your structure. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So all of these calculations that determine these forces is what we're going to study in this course. But what I did for a long time, I don't do it as much anymore, was I would go out to sites with a drill rig and drill and collect the data that would help us understand how we're going to build a foundation to absorb and accommodate the forces that you've calculated. This was geotechnical drilling and investigation. Is it a good job being in the field? Well, let me just explain three things, or maybe more. So I love to play sports. So I liked growing up, I played cricket, proper cricket, so 1 to 3 days. So it was easy for me to get a field job compared to others, because I had the stamina to be standing outdoors all day, day after day after day after day. It's like being a cricket player. Then I could eat cheeseburgers, no belly, fantastic life. You eat whatever you want. Now, I do not recommend this, but growing up, it wasn't a big deal. I could smoke anytime I wanted to. Do not do that. I don't smoke anymore. Back in the day, coffee and cigarettes, that was the field. It wasn't as big a societal health concern as it is now, because of which I have quit smoking. So when you become a technician or technologist, my recommendation is do what you enjoy. I'm sure there's a lot of areas within your field that, like if you're good at CAD or design, do that. If you're good at inspections, focus on that, right? If you're good at the materials part, enjoy whatever you enjoy, focus on that. Okay. All right. Now, when I'm not, so when I'm not playing cricket or teaching in class or playing hockey or watching hockey, I am going to different events. In costume, like Star Wars, G.I. Joe. I like to be a Mandalorian, Spider-Man, and so on. I really enjoy, I really enjoy Batman and Star Wars and Star Trek. But enough about me. Those of you who I'm going to meet in person, it would be nice. However, because it's the first class, I'm going to ask you guys to tell me a little bit about yourself because I want to get to know you. So either you say it and I'll call out your name, you say it, or if you're not willing to, you can type something and I can share it. So your name and tell me something interesting about yourself. Samira, you're first.
Hello, Professor. I'm
Hello.
Samira Purgoli. I'm from Iran, and I studied architecture in Iran. I studied Master of Architecture in Iran, but because I don't have certification and I don't know the building codes of this country, I have started to study architectural technology in the Centennial College. And that's
Thank you. That means that when I make a mistake, you will help correct it, okay?
no, no.
No, it's very common for us to get experienced architects and technologists from other countries. They're here to retool, update their qualifications, and I always welcome them because I haven't practiced architecture. I've collected the data that architects need, but your input will be valuable here. Thank you. Thank you very much. By the way, my wife was born in Iran.
Yeah,
Yeah, she
okay.
was she was born in Tehran.
No,
Yeah.
I'm from Tabriz,
Okay. Yeah,
the
Tabriz,
city
yeah.
of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, one of the most famous Sufis who actually converted Rumi from being a scholar into a Sufi was from Tabriz, Shams al Tabriz. And a very famous cricket player from South Africa is named after your city, Shamsi al Tabriz, and he plays for South Africa. But
Oh,
yeah, in a global world, it's nice to see these beautiful connections of different cultures across the world in a
yeah,
positive way. Thank
yeah,
you.
exactly. Nice to meet you
Yeah, and
too.
actually, it's interesting because a lot of the knowledge and infrastructure that we use now, even that is named quote unquote the Arabic numerals, it was actually Persian people who got a lot of the developed a lot of what we use now. But you already probably know that.
Okay.
Okay, Soeta, are you able to introduce yourself, Soeta?
Yeah, hello, Professor. My name is Shweta, and I'm from Sri Lanka. And back home, I study Revit architecture and engineering draftsmanship. Now I'm studying to become an architectural technician. By the way, I love cricket. I'm just watching IPL.
Right. Yeah, so I was telling somebody the other day that for the first time in my entire existence, my three teams are doing well. Montreal Canadiens, Islamabad United. So when I lived in Pakistan, I lived in Islamabad, and then Punjab Kings, because my family is from Jalandhar. I'm actually Jalandhari from India. So I was very happy, but I tend to get so busy. It's very hard to watch all of these things, right? Uh, and the IPL is in the day, and
Yeah, actually, I just watch highlights sometimes
right,
because
right, right.
I'm
That's wonderful, excellent. But one time, me and my friend from India, we were talking about the cricket, and our third friend, Roshan from Sri Lanka, he was very upset because we didn't consider Sri Lanka to have a chance in that tournament. And he screamed at us. He said, "Do you think Sri Lanka is a village?" And every time we remind him of that. This is 20 years ago. Even 20 years later now, every chance I get, I ask him, "Do you think Sri Lanka is a village?" By the way, I was picked to play for the Canadian national over 50 team in Sri Lanka, but I was unable to go for various reasons. And I actually have my helmet from the team behind me, between the Batman and the Mandalorian.
Oh, that's good.
So, Adriano, are you able to tell us about yourself?
Yes, Professor. My name is Adriana Ruffalo. My student number is 301-441-438. I like to I like to practice karate on my free time, and on the off chance if the weather is good, I like to play soccer as well. This is also my second program at Centennial College. I was initially in the tourism program at Centennial College, but now I'm studying architecture because my dad owns a plumbing business, and I figured it could be a good opportunity to go into architecture.
That's very, very interesting because in architecture, you have to work closely with people who put in plumbing and other infrastructure.
Yeah. My dad is more of a builder rather than a plumber, so he talks to a lot of architects and contractors. So I've actually worked part-time with my dad over the summer, so I got a lot of experience in construction.
Great. So you can actually help tie in the practical to the theoretical because my course, unfortunately, I'm more theoretical. I'm not practical, but those of you who have experience, I always love your input. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
All right, so now I'm going to look at Juanju. Did I get your name right? Juanju Lu? Okay. All right. Look, Juanju might have stepped away. Kristen, are you able to tell us about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, my name is Kristen. I've taken a course at Durham College that was the introduction to trades. So I've done some welding, some plumbing, some carpentry. I then went into construction and worked for a general contractor for 2 years. So I do have some hands on experience. And then I stepped into an office position doing building codes and permits. So I really enjoyed that. And that's what led me to an architectural technician program. I enjoy my outside time. I live in the country, so I'm a little bit secluded, but I enjoy my chickens and my horse, and I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. Makari, are you able to tell us about yourself? Okay. Makari,
Yes, I can do so. Sorry, is my mic working? Okay.
it's working.
Alrighty. Hi, my name is Makar Kobe, and I've been doing architecture related, um, I guess, programs since high school, I would say, and I am enjoying the program a lot. I've been sticking with it for quite some time, and I guess my hobbies. I like exercising. I do as much as I can, I suppose, when I can. I usually do calisthenics, but yeah, I'm trying to stay fit while I'm doing architecture, I suppose. That's cool.
Thank you, Makari.
Thank you.
Dana, are you able to share something about yourself?
Hi, my name is Dana.
Dana?
I'm Lebanese. Dana, not Dana, because when I was living in Turkey, I used to study architecture in Turkey, but I did not finish my bachelor. My name in Turkish means cow, but in Arabic it means pearl. So I'm really concerned how people are saying my name. I'm
So am I,
studying architecture.
because people call me the carpet sometimes.
Sajjad. Yeah,
Yes,
in
yeah,
Arabic it means yeah,
but I'm
yeah,
actually supposed to be
maybe.
the sajda sajjad, not the carpet sajjad.
Yeah, yeah. I get you. Um, uh, Actually, in Arabic, we don't call a lot of people Sajjad. I think it's mostly a Pakistani or Indian name. That's why it's maybe a little bit, although it's an Arabic word. Uh, and I'm studying architectural technology in Centennial College.
Mhm.
Uh, and I'm actually enjoying it. It's nice.
Perfect, perfect, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much, Donna. But Donna, are you living in Turkey now or are you living in Canada?
No, no, I'm living in Canada,
Okay,
and
okay. Because sometimes we have students who are back and forth in the remote class. Thank you. Thank you for
yeah.
sharing.
Okay.
Clarice,
Good morning.
good morning.
Hi, my name is Clarice. I am in architectural technician program, so I will be seeing you tomorrow. Fun fact about me, I don't play hockey, but I've always been interested, but I don't think I would want to watch, sorry, I don't think I would want to watch like the big level thing where the ones that you watch on TV. I kind of want to watch the high school or like college games, so like more local. I just think it's cooler that way. Um, I don't play hockey, but I like playing badminton.
Nice, nice. So it's interesting you say that because I think so. I'm from Durham region. I live in Whitby. My home is Durham, so I spent a lot of time in Oshawa, Whitby, Ajax, Pickering, and I think I've seen more Oshawa General games live than Toronto Maple Leafs or Montreal Canadiens games live. So
Right,
I
yeah.
understand. Yeah, it's a lot more fun. I mean, all of the big players like John Tavares, Carey Price, um, Nazem Kadri. I saw them as juniors before they became very famous.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that, Clarice.
Yep.
Samantha Rios,
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so good morning.
Good
My name
morning.
is Santa. I'm from Mexico.
I
Uh,
I thought you were because the only other person I knew was from Mexico, and I was in Mexico 2 weeks ago. I was in a place called Miguel Hidalgo in Mexico City.
yeah, yeah. I'm from Puebla. It's near to Mexico City, so yeah. Well, this is my first time visiting college, but I always wanted to study something like this because my father is civil engineer. So yeah, that's why I'm here and I'm enjoying so much this.
Right. And everybody told me there's no such thing as Mexico, it's Mexico, right?
Mexico, yeah.
Right. Oh, welcome.
Thank you.
Kevin Preciado.
Hi, good morning. I'm
Good morning.
Kevin. I'm from Colombia. I also like hockey, and this is like my first time knowing about hockey. I like it, and I just went my first time for a hockey game last year. Everything is new for me, but I think that I like the way that the guy people play there.
Interesting because when I was a kid and I was a teenager in Pakistan, Colombians were so famous for football.
Yeah, we are strong in
So but coming back to
football.
Samantha and also Kevin, people ask me, what do I think of Mexico? I said I fell in love with Mexico in 1986 when this happened. It was one of the most beautiful things I ever saw at the Azteca Stadium. And then my friends who are from England, they got offended. They said, well, he punched a ball in and he's a cheat. I said, sometimes you have to take the good with the bad. But anyhow, thank you for sharing that. But I hope to get to know you better. Mackenzie, would you like to tell me about yourself? Okay, so Mackenzie has written, I was born here. I'm a part of the architect technology program on my free time. I enjoy playing volleyball and going to the gym. Well, you must be quite fit then, Mackenzie. So maybe we should learn some good techniques in the gym. Are you one of those influencers who records in the gym, or are you just regular gym goer? Okay, regular gym goer. Good, nice. Shanara or Shanara?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, it's Shanara. So I am also Sri Lankan. I'm in my fourth semester of the architectural technology program, and I don't watch hockey, but I had the unfortunate event of watching the Leafs lose on Saturday, in a pub, and it's very interesting to see all the hockey watchers crying, but yeah, I'm also an avid baker and a gamer.
Awesome. It's interesting. As a fan, sometimes we suffer more than even the players. In the
Yeah.
pandemic, Montreal made the final and they lost. And as a football fan, the Cincinnati Bengals is my team. They lost in the Super Bowl. Pakistan lost to England in a final. And then when Argentina played France in a World Cup final, I refused to watch it, but people forced me to watch it. They said, at some point, one of your teams is going to win. But I keep telling people one of the things is that, if you enjoyed the game, win or lose, we are still winners because that's the purpose, right? We're not getting any personal benefit, and it's more fun watching the game as a part of a group of friends. And as long as you had a good time, you're still a winner because really it doesn't affect us personally. But it's nice to see a Toronto team doing well. When the Raptors won the NBA final, that was so much fun that spring. So I'm glad you went out and enjoyed the game. Okay, I've got Minerva Fatu.
Hello,
Hello.
this is Minerva Fausto, and I'm not a big fan of hockey. I'm not a big fan of sports generally, but I like art and photography. I've been in Centennial since last semester. I did a little bit of architecture for a year in the US, and I'm here now.
Where in the US?
What?
Where in the US were you?
Texas.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I
Yeah.
I have family there. I go to Houston regularly.
It's
And I also live in Florida. I work there. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Let's see. Who do I still have left? Uh, Danielle. Danielle, I don't think we heard from you yet. Danielle. Danielle might have stepped away. Jasmine. Jasmine, are you around? Okay, it looks like the people who are present are have already spoken. So let's start with, I'm going to go a little bit over the time. Usually at this time we'll be ending, but I'm going to go a little bit over the time because I do want to get into a few more things. Although we've already covered some of the items from the slides. Oops. Looks like I opened up the wrong set of slides. Sorry about that. Let me go back. That was week 5. I need week 1. So I'll just go over what we've already mentioned, what we've already covered. And in the second part of the lecture, so this was part 1, we will cover the remaining items. So we've already talked about the main items. Now, in terms of communication, if you guys can email me, that's good. But for certain situations, I don't think that email is the good way to go back and forth. So in those situations, I might request a quick Zoom call. It'll take a few minutes to go over something to help you. I do have office hours, but I'm not strict about that. If somebody doesn't want to meet me during office hours, they just email me and say, can we chat? We'll just figure out a good time to chat, okay? And those of you who are meeting me in person, it's a lot easier to just talk about stuff after class if need be. My response time, I try, if I can get your email within a reasonable time, I try to get back to you the same day. If I can't, within 24 hours. Let's see if I can keep that up. Let's see if I can keep that up. My office is actually room 428. And I've touched upon who I am and what I've done, although I'm surprised none of you mentioned Batman, Star Wars, Star Trek, G.I. Joe. I'm really surprised, but that's okay. Maybe I'll get over it as time goes on. Classroom guidelines, I think I've mentioned to you guys already. Why do I bring up this topic of asking you guys to talk like this? 90% of you, more or less, will at some point need to communicate using Zoom. That's just a fact of life. And this is just a reality that we're dealing with. So if you don't practice being comfortable on Zoom, comfortable on camera, comfortable using this equipment, it's a good time to start getting good at it. Now, in class, so the cell phones is mainly for in class. I do ask students to try to focus on the lecture, focus on the content. I used to actually ask people not to be distracted by their cell phones. I don't enforce that anymore because a lot of students are using their cell phones or their devices in class. And if you're using your cell phone or device for something related to the class, for sure, there's no way I can contradict that. But if you're using your cell phone in a way that's distracting you, that's very, very ill-advised, right? In terms of best practices for studying and preparing for the test, I will say this to you right now. If you attend the class, so I'll go over that just in a second. A few things to give you advice. My portion of the course, the first half, is going to cover basic concepts, units, trigonometry, vectors, forces, Newton's laws, free body diagrams. And even though the whole course has 3 tests, I will take 1 test. Professor Mansour will take 2 tests. I will take 3 assignments. Professor Mansour will take 2 assignments. And that spreadsheet is updated every week to help you stay on top of things, okay? And it's updated. Now, assignments can be submitted and completed in groups of 4, but then it's up to you to make sure you know what that assignment is. If you depend on people to help you get the assignment done, but you don't learn it yourself, then this is going to be a disadvantage to you in the test, okay? All right? So we're going to try to cover in this week. We've already gotten through the outline of the course, the ground rules. We'll try to talk about the basics of physics, units of measurements and conversions, and that will round off the first week. There's no assignment, no assessment in the first week. But like I said, attend class. The assignments are there to help you. And you can get my help, you can get anybody's help. If you attend class and you come on time, the assignment should be quite easy. The other thing is review every week. Now, I'm not a very smart person, but I have, well, you could argue I have 4 degrees. And how did I get successful in doing that? So let's say I go to class week 1. At the end of week 1, yes, I did have part-time work, but I made sure I would review all things week 1. Then week 2, I would review all things weeks 1 and 2. Then week 3, I would review all things 1, 2, 3. So what's going to happen in week 1? Let's say I spend an hour on the review. By the time I reach week 7, things from weeks 1, 2, and 3, it'll take me 5 minutes to review. So that 1 hour might just become 2 hours by the end of the semester. And the first 13 weeks, you've reviewed quite quickly. And also you'll develop a strategy because you know how I mark, you know how I test, and that applies to every course. And then by the time you reach week 14, and I kid you not, I prepare for a test the same as I would be studying in week 1 or 2, an hour here or there, because everything is on my fingertips. If you don't want to follow these strategies, that's completely up to you. But this is how I studied, and who taught me that was my father, my late father, who was a PhD. So he was very, very studious, and he also recommended, and I recommended as well, that when you review something math related, you have to write. You have to practice by writing, by solving, by repeating. By practice, 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 practice. If you're not comfortable with math, this is the time to look at getting a tutor. I'm asking you to consider this, okay? All right. So now that we come to the end of our first session, those of you who attended this session, good for you. You're well on your way to becoming successful in this class, because if you attend class regularly, the chances of you not doing well in this course are very low. Okay? Also, practicing some of the things that I recommended are important. And another thing is, do not mind my harsh words or tone when I see something that needs to be fixed in this semester. It is for your benefit, because your success is my success. And if you are not achieving what you need to from this program, from this course, then it is really something that hurts people like me. It bothers me. I don't want to see you come here and waste your time, so I will mention and give you feedback to try to make you improve and to try to do better. If you don't want to take it, that is fully your right. I'm just an instructor. However, I believe it is my job to guide you in the best way possible, not only for success in the course, but it's success outside of the course and in your future. So with that, I give you a few minutes for anybody who has any questions, and additional time for anybody who has any questions that wants me to repeat stuff. I'll repeat stuff now, not during the class. Now I'll repeat stuff. Those of you who wanted me to repeat earlier, I'll stay a few minutes and repeat stuff if you need anything repeated. But I didn't want to take up time of the students who came in time. Okay, so please understand where I was coming from. If you miss something, you are responsible to make up for it, but I do not mind helping you. Okay. All right, Kristen, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. I just want to make sure that there is a required textbook for this class.
There's no requirement for this class. The textbook is just recommended to help you. You don't have to buy anything from my point of view. I don't want you to spend hundreds of dollars that you don't need to. This is a tariff-free class. Oh, I forgot to warn you guys.
Thank you.
I make a lot of jokes. They are not funny, but if you laugh, you will make me feel better. Because if my jokes were funny, why would I be a professor at Centennial College? I would have a TV show on real time, like Bill Maher on HBO, right? So, anyways, although I don't agree with some of his politics, I did used to enjoy his show a lot. I do enjoy good comedic work. But because the world has changed, and those type of jokes that we used to make when we were younger, we tend to avoid those jokes, right? Some of them were ethnically centered, or it was normal to make jokes about how people look. Like I remember when um uh when we were working with people and a few of us started to get gray hair, my old friends do make fun of that. It's normal, but I just thought it was funny how it's interesting how you guys are better than us in that way. You don't make jokes about superficial things. You're much more respectful, and I appreciate where you guys are coming from. But yes, I should have warned you. I do make jokes in class, and one of the reasons is I'm trying to see if you're actually listening. Yes, you do not need a book if you don't want to buy it. If you do buy it, buy an old edition secondhand. And if you're in class and you need to borrow a book, you can take it, but please don't disappear with my books. Any other questions? Okay, so we have somebody who's watched the first 4 movies. Okay, so you have to clarify chronologically the first 4 movies or the first 4 movies numerically, because technically, Anakin Skywalker's story is the first 3 movies, but it's really not. It wasn't actually shown the first 3 times. Yeah, I love Andor as well. No spoilers though, but if you want to talk about it afterwards, I've watched the first 2 episodes. I love Andor, by the way. Oh, marvelous. Okay, so it looks like there's nothing pertinent to the class, so I'm going to stop the recording. If you guys want to stick around and chat about anything else, you're free to, but I need to stop the recording.